Yo, what up, guys? Welcome back. We are doing a patch rundown for 11.16. If you want to watch the official one, Mortdog puts one on his channel, you can do that. But this will just be my perspective as a top-level player who plays a lot, and just what I think about the patch and, you know, kind of my perspective on the game. If you're into that sort of thing, that's what we're doing. All right, let's get into it. So overall, this patch is kind of a small patch. There's a lot of changes, but there's only like one or two major changes. The rest are some fine-tuning. Just watching the patch notes, I've already watched the Mortdog version of this before I actually read the official ones, and it feels like it's going to be exactly the same meta. It feels like there's going to be a lot of theory crafting for the meta to actually really be shooken up, and that was the intent of the balance team. They said that they don't actually want to shake up the meta. They kind of like where it is, and this is just kind of tuning some things down and tuning some other things up. And yeah, overall looks pretty good, except for, expect for the same meta unless some new revolutionary build comes. So let's just dig right into the details. So here's the overview, but we're not going to talk about that. Guys, they added a Craggle. They added a I'm buying this. I'm buying this. Oh my god, they added Craggle. Okay, let's go. Okay, normally I don't care anything about the cosmetics, but Craggle is my favorite. All right, let's get into it. Large changes. The Legion care. Oh my. About social. Oh my. I'm not reading that. Okay, Abomination. So Abomination Scaling. Let's look. Okay, they actually did nerf 3 A-bomb. Okay, that's good to nerf 3 A-bomb. And then 4 is the same. So basically all you need to know about this scaling right here is that what they're intending to do with the scaling, you don't even need to dig into the math or the numbers. What they're intending to do with the scaling is late game, they want you to not drop 4 A-bomb. So that's why they're making 3 A-bomb a little weaker, and they make the scaling worse on 3 A-bomb because it's a percentage base, right? So if you nerf a percentage, it's going to be stronger on the higher cost, and they nerf the base value. So all you really need to know is that instead of dropping like your Callista late game, or if you have an A-bomb spat, dropping like a brand, you may want to consider not doing that sometimes. But most likely, unless you're just running a really strong A-bomb board, you're probably just going to pivot completely out of A-bomb or keep the 3 A-bomb. But that is their intent, is to increase the value of 4 A-bomb by nerfing 3 A-bomb slightly early and then a lot more later on in the game. But usually you either run 4 A-bomb or you don't, super late game, or you run it for free at 3 A-bomb. So honestly, probably doesn't change a whole lot. Abomination, health per star level. Yeah. So the same idea. So the same idea is 3 A-bomb is going to be slightly weaker early game. It's still going to be super strong, so you can still go for that. And then late game, what they want you to do is they want to try to make it a tough decision on whether you need to keep 4 A-bomb or not. But honestly, I don't think this changes. I think you can play exactly the same way, and you probably won't feel it. Okay, Legionnaire is getting reworked. So Legionnaire, you get bonus attack speed, and now you heal for a portion of damage that you deal with attacks and abilities. Before, you would just heal for a portion of your ability damage with your next auto attack. So this is a really big buff to Riven, really big buff to Draven, because he'll heal off his autos, and he's like critting for like 800, so he'll heal for a portion of that. This is also a big buff to Yasuo, and a really big buff to if you get a random Legionnaire spat, because right now if you get a Legionnaire spat and you put it on somebody, it's just useless. Like even someone you'd think it'd be good, like you put it on Aphelios, and you're like, oh, he ults, he does huge damage, just gonna have a fat heal, and then you just see like plus 200. And like the attack speed is just like whatever. So this is going to make having Legionnaire spat a lot better. And the other thing that is really interesting about this is there may spawn a like really unique Legionnaire build. This is the only change on this patch that I think actually could change the meta, but it might not do much. It might just make Draven a lot better. It might make Yasuo and Riven better. They're both getting nerfed directly, but this make them better. Yeah, and that Dawnbringer build I like playing. This is a buff to that build if you're playing Riven. That's pretty nice. And if you play with Legionnaire spats. Okay, Champions tier 2. So Tristana is getting nerfed. Rage. Nerfed at 2-star by a lot. That's pretty good. And at 3-star. Hopefully this build will just die. It's my least favorite build in the game. I think it's really unfun to play. That's why I don't like it. I actually don't mind losing to it that bad. I mean, it's annoying, but I really don't like playing this build, so I just want it deleted from the meta, if I'm being real. I hate heavy-handed balancing, but I kind of just want it gone. So I don't know if this kills that board, because that board is pretty insane, the Hellion board. But it does make Tristana as a transition unit a little bit worse because she's a really good transition unit. And maybe you'll start to think about not going for it. But honestly, we'll just probably have to test and see how it goes. But I don't think just this nerf alone will kill that board, but it probably will make it to where 4 people every lobby aren't going for Hellions. So it's a welcome nerf. All right, Aurelia's Defiant Dance. Okay, this wasn't on the original nerf notes. This is actually a big nerf to my favorite build, which is my Dawnbringer tech, which I made a guide for. If you guys want to check that out. Shameless plug, by the way. This is actually a big nerf to that build that I like playing. But honestly, Aurelia is one of the best units in the game, and she feels like a 3 cost, and she's a 2 cost, and she has 3 different tags. So, I mean, Aurelia would be good if she was useless, just because her tags are so insane. So this nerf is probably warranted. And then 5 AD, you probably won't feel that. Maybe you might lose a round. You might lose like a round that you would have won by like a couple of autos. You know? But there isn't a significant difference. Aurelia is still going to be a really good unit. But you don't really care about playing this unit as a carry if you were trying to do that already. This unit's not very but still is going to be an amazing unit to splash into your team because it has really good traits. And overall, it's just a really solid unit. So Aurelia is not dead. Okay, Champions Tier 3. Okay, there's a lot of things on Nocturne right here. I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to tell you exactly what the balance team said. This is what they want to do. They basically reworked a lot of stuff. This is the goal of Nocturne, is they're trying to add more confusing stuff to his thing. I know that sounds weird. They're adding more like ratios and numbers so they have more levers to balance him. Because right now, this is the way Nocturne feels. Nocturne at 1 cost is useless. Absolutely useless. Absolutely useless. Just compare him to Riven or Yasuo. Imagine you start the game with a Riven, Yasuo, or Lee Sin, or a Nidalee, or you start the game with a Nocturne. Very big difference. You know, he's like on the level of Ashe. But Ashe is supposed to be bad because she's draconic. This guy is supposed to be a carry, like a real carry. So they're adding more like levels to his scaling and stuff like that so that they can have more ways to balance him. Because at 1 cost, he's useless. At 2-star, he's okay, but he's like nowhere near the other units I just said, Lee Sin, Yasuo, Riven, and he's supposed to be near their level, right? And then at 3-star, he's like really insane, right? The other thing that kind of sucks is they're nerfing, these changes also nerf Deathblade on him, so he's even more reliant on Infinity Edge, which I'm usually not in favor of changes like that, where like you feel like if you slam an 80 item, you know, he's an 80 champion, you feel like you slam 180 item that it's like going to be like pretty useless, and then versus another item you get is going to be insane. So I'm usually not in favor of those types of changes, but you know, maybe it'll be okay. Maybe they'll find a good balancing here, but I don't know if Nocturne's going to be good, but it's worth giving a try. This is like too complicated and too big of a change to like try to make an assessment here. But the key things that I said is they're just adding more ways that they could balance him and trying to even his power curve. Because right now it's like useless, okay, and then wow, he's really good. All right, Lucian. So Lucian is getting a bunch of changes. It's Gallio first. Okay, Gallio is getting buffed. They're buffing Gallio because Gallio right now, if you guys know about the Sentinel build, you don't even upgrade your Gallio because you want the shield and attack speed to go on Lucian. And then also you don't play Gallio outside of that board unless you're playing Draconics very often. They're wanting Gallio to be almost as strong as Rel. I don't think Gallio should ever be as strong as Rel because he's a Draconic. That'd be ridiculous. But they're trying to make him almost as strong as Rel. Because the difference between having a Rel 2 or a Gallio 2 just as a splash unit, like Rel is insane. So they're trying to put him a little bit closer to make him more of a premier frontliner. Kind of like how, like, you know, in set 4, like Sejuani was good, Aatrox was great, and Shin was really good. So they're just trying to add him as like another option for a legitimate solo tanker. Because right now he doesn't really feel like that. He just feels like something you play in Sentinel or Draconics, and most people play Sentinels, don't even upgrade him so they can get the shield. So they're buffing his healing, they're buffing his duration. This buff is massive. This duration, 0.5 seconds. Like that could be the difference between like a Draven crit that would kill him and then he heals, or like an Aphelios ulti, or a Vel'Koz ulti, you know, so this is pretty big. Or a Heimerdinger ulti could come in as 0.5. So this is a massive change. Shield duration damage is unchanged. They're nerfing at 3-star because apparently if you 3-star him, he just one-shots the board. You can't do that. Okay, Karma is getting a buff. Praise everything. This is a big buff to crit Karma as well, because the way crit scaling works, because her base values are going up. Yeah, Karma is the most useless forecast in the game right now. The only time I ever play Karma is I play her as a third carry and in a Dawnbringer build that I play, that I talked about earlier, which feels so wrong because she is supposed to be the premier carry of the Dawnbringers. And right now she feels like the third best carry in that board. That's pretty weird. So she definitely needs a buff. Not sure what this actually does, if it makes her viable, but this is a welcome buff and it'll just need to be tested out. So definitely need a buff. She was the most underwhelming forecast in the game right now. All right, Lucian. So Lucian, every other auto attack of his culling will now stack things. So it can now proc Runaan's. It can now static Shiv. It can now proc static Shiv. It can now proc Rageblade, and it can now proc Titan's Resolve. Every other attack, when you read it and you think it's every attack sounds broken, it's gonna be really strong. And they nerfed his HP by 100. I think this is an effort to make you stop doing the mathematically thing. The mathematically rep. Yeah, they're trying to get rid of that strategy. Awesome. That's cool with me because it sounds ridiculous that you don't want to upgrade your whole front line so that Lucian will win. That is so dumb. And also creates an unfair advantage for the Sentinel player because you don't have to waste gold on upgrading. You only need to upgrade your Lucian. That's why they're nerfing the health. I don't know why they're adding this because Lucian already feels like one of the best carries in the game. And now you can slam Runaan's early and play. And now Draven's getting buffed indirectly from Legionnaire. So Runaan's is going to be a really good item because they're buffing Nocturne is what their goal is at 2-star. One of his best items. It's one of Draven's best items. Fine on Aphelios. It's good on wow, Runaan's is going to be insane. It's good on Yasuo, it's good on Riven, it's good on Nidalee. And now it's good on Lucian. So you guys might want to try making a lot of Runaan's early game. Might be a good start. Maybe bow start might be the play. Because Lucian didn't need any buffs, and he's really good. I mean, I think this should always work on him, and I don't know if he needs to be nerfed, but Lucian feels really good, and you can now play super flex. I might try to go back to being ultra flex Andy, because right now I kind of might try going back to ultra flex Andy with all these Runaan's. Might be a way to play. Okay. All right, they are buffing Quicksilver. This is awesome. They're buffing it because no one plays it. This item is actually sleeper okay right now. People think it's useless, but it's actually sleeper okay in the current meta. In the current patch, because people are playing Hellions, the most common boards late game are Hellions and Invokers. And QSS is great into both of those for obvious reasons. Those are both high CC boards. So it was already actually decent, but Hellions might be coming out of the meta. So this is a welcome buff because almost nobody builds it. And guys, if you're playing my Dawnbringer tech, this is Nidalee's best item. Nidalee is my favorite carry in that board. Nice juicy buff to my favorite build. It'd be good. All right, blue buff Blessing. They're just buffing the AP because almost no one takes this. Really good buff. There's actually a buff to Karma as well. If you don't know, Radiant blue buff, it gives you extra mana, which you don't get value on that once Karma is fully ramped because she only has 10 mana. But this will ramp her super fast. And the AP scaling is going to be really, really, really juicy. So it's a really big buff to units like Karma, Brand, Gwen. Maybe there'll be a Gwen carry build with this item. Maybe if you get this like a niche, it'd be very niche. If you get this item, there might be a Gwen carry build, and maybe you actually think about taking this item because right now you don't ever take this item. Okay, Stoneplate getting buffed. Almost no one takes this. This is a buff to Gallio as well. So if you get a Sentinel opener and you slam this and you think you're going to move into Lucian, this is actually a buff to Sentinel build, which makes me sad because Sentinel is good, and a buff to Gallio because he's the best user of this item in the game. Cool. All right, Demon Slayer, Giant Slayer. This item is another buff to the Dawnbringer build because Nidalee has dual scaling, which Giant Slayer buffs both sides of her scaling, right? It's flat damage amp. So this is actually a big buff to the Dawnbringer build. Okay, guys, that's why I've been testing it today because I want to be able to play it tomorrow. It's going to be exciting. All right, Gwentsu's Reckoning. They're adding a 30% attack speed at the beginning of it because this is statistically the worst item in the game. Gwentsu's Reckoning. Did I hate the name? Just Radiant Rageblade, guys. They're buffing it. This is a buff to Vayne. I don't know if there will be a Vayne build because Vayne feels like the worst unit of the game. And also, this is so niche because you'd have to like get it, right? So they're trying to make this a viable option. If you're going an AD route, you could actually take it. Probably really good on Aphelios because he takes forever to ult. Might be okay on Draven. There might be some Legionnaire build where you play 4 Legion. He just starts out with like 2.5 attack speed. He just instantly kills the front line. So buff to those. Worth giving a try this patch. Not sure if this makes it in line with the other items, because this item was by far the worst item. So I don't know if this makes this strong, but it might be a little bit closer in line with the other Radiants. And who knows, maybe there's some broken build. All right, Spark. So Spark is getting nerfed, just 1% max health. It's a good item, so that's fine. Cool. Damage on Jeweled Gauntlet is going up, Cursed Jeweled Gauntlets, because most people are preferring Archangels. That's fine. They're trying to buff a lot of the AP items, so AP is more appealing because it's a very AD dominant meta, and they're not really touching the AD champs. Cool. Locket is getting buffed. Maybe this is good for Skirmishers. Skirmishers getting buffed. I think this could be really good on Skirmisher board, because you just start out the map with a fat shield. I'm kind of scared about this. If you're playing reroll Skirmishers and you toss this on like a Lee Sin or a Kennen, you can actually get so much value. You might start out the fight with like, you know, in Skirmishers getting buffed, you know, you do 6 Skirmishers, you might have an extra like 4k health on the board. You have this item slammed and you have a 3-star and you have Skirmisher shield. You might get a free like, you know, crazy amount of health. So this would be worth trying in frontline based boards like Skirmisher, maybe Nightbringers, maybe stuff like that. Might be worth giving a try. But in other cases, if you're not playing a frontline based board, it might not be that great. There might be a niche scenario where you put it on backline, but honestly, backline usually doesn't get touched until later in the fight anyways, because assassins aren't meta. Okay, Death Cap. They're just buffing this, trying to make people play AP. Cool. I don't know if this changes the meta. Radiant Redemption. They're just nerfing it because just statistically it's been doing super well. The item should still be fine, but I don't really build this item that much. So you may just want to think twice about taking this over another tank item in the game. But apparently it's really overperforming in the data, but I haven't really seen that in actuality. But yeah, so maybe think twice about taking this in situations where you wanted to. This is a nerf to Fortnite Jax build because this item's really good. Build. It's a nerf to a Kayle build because Kayle is always a stall build. But Kayle is not exactly. They're reworking buffing her. Okay, Static. I don't know when you would ever want to build this, so cool, it's buffed. There might be some Hellion tech with this item. I don't know. We'll see. All right, Sunfire Cape definitely need to be nerfed. Sunfire Cape is still going to be... Oh, they actually nerfed something else, but they took it off. This is probably still going to be one of the premier Radiants in the game. This item is really, really, really insane, especially on stall boards and frontline-based boards like Skirmishers. So these are a lot big buffs to Skirmishers. This item is really good in Nightbringer and Dawnbringer as well. So buff to those boards as well. So any stall board or tanky board like Dawn's and Nightbringer. And it could be good if you want to play reroll Hellions and put this on your little rat. Cool. All right, these are smaller changes. Those were the bigger changes. Here's some more changes. They're just nerfing Cannoneer at 2. Okay, yeah, Cannoneer feels really strong. That's fine. They're buffing Hellion at 2 because they want to make you try to build Hellion later on in the game. Fine. It's fine. Fine. Cool. I'm fine with that. And then pretty much unchanged. They nerfed right here at 6, but a lot of Hellion boards you don't play 6 because you just play 4 with like Knights. You just play like the current board is you play Thresh 3 and then you add a Mystic. So you only play this if you hit a Teemo or if you hit a Hellion Spat. So it's a nerf to that board if you have Hellion Spat. They're just trying to make people not all force rats. Fine with me. Cool. I like these little changes. Maybe we'll knock that out of the meta. I think rats will still be a good board to go for if you're uncontested, but probably we'll think twice about forcing it every game like before. Cool. Nightbringer, shield, max health scaling. They're nerfing it at 6. That means almost nothing. It literally means almost nothing because a lot of times you don't even want to run 6 when you're playing Yasuo. I play a lot of Yasuo and Lee, and you only run it if you get 3 stars. But even when you get 3 stars, sometimes it's not worth it. It's only worth it if you have good items for Aphelios as well. Then it's usually worth it. So this probably changes nothing. Nightbringer bonus damage. They're nerfing at 8 because it is absolutely the most broken build in the game. Oh, and they're nerfing 8 on this one as well. It is the most capped you can be. So maybe, I mean, it's still going to be amazing. But basically right now, if you have a 3-star Yasuo and you hit 8 Nightbringer, you can't possibly lose. It is what it is. It's absolutely the strongest board in the game. They're just nerfing that down. But I think the 6 Nightbringer does nothing to Nightbringers. Does absolutely nothing. Okay, cool. Ranger attack speed, they're buffing at 2 because Rangers just feel underwhelming. They're doing this mostly for early game, but this is a nice buff to Aphelios, especially if you like playing 2 Ranger variations. I've never been a 4 Ranger player. I forgot to run so many useless units. And so many better units late game. So it's a nice buff to Aphelios board and a nice buff to early game. That's really their main goal with this, is to make Rangers feel viable early game. Okay, Sentinel, bonus attack speed. Nerfing 3 Sentinel because it is insane. This is a nerf to the Dawnbringer and Nightbringer builds that I play as well. It's a nerf to your level 6, but you won't really feel this as much because you pivot out anyways at 7. So if you're wanting to play Nightbringer and Dawnbringer and you like to run this as your early game opener, you won't feel this that much, but definitely Sentinel feels like the best opener or one of the best openers. So nerf is warranted and the rest is unchanged. That's fine. Okay, Skirmishers. So Skirmishers now is getting a nice buff. There's a lot of buff for Skirmishers in here. You guys might want to try playing 6 Skirmishers on the patch. Maybe it's actually decent. I'm really scared of 6 Skirmishers being good because 6 Skirmishers is one of the lamest boards in the game. One of the easiest boards. You buy Udyr, then you buy the units with Skirmisher next to them. You sell the Udyr, put the items on Jax, call it a day. So I hate when Skirmishers are meta, when 6 Skirmishers are meta, but 6 Skirmisher right now is useless. They're buffing it in a lot of direct and indirect ways, so makes it a little uncomfortable. But maybe it's bad still. But it's worth giving a try, especially with the locket changes, stuff like that. It's worth giving Skirmisher a try. I will definitely be trying it with locket. Sure. Cool. Leona is getting buffed because Knights and Redeemed feel super underwhelming, so she will cast earlier into the fight. Definitely, I just played a game of Redeemed and very poorly because Redeemed is trash. I just played a game of Redeemed, and I did find that a lot of fights, my Leona would be chunked to 30% HP before she would cast, and that would make it to where she couldn't second cast. So this is making it to where she will more reliably cast twice, which will make her much better frontline. So this is a huge buff, actually. Okay, Olaf, they're nerfing a little bit. Just they said he's overperforming the data. I don't really see that in actuality. Honestly, Olaf has felt fine to me. He's felt like a good item holder, but apparently he's overperforming. I think it was more because of Sentinel and stack this on him, and if he's your only 2-star, he instantly gets it. I found when I do run a 2-star Olaf as my only 2-star Sentinel, he does feel really, really strong, but overall he doesn't feel that strong on his own. So I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it's probably fine. Vayne is getting buffed because she's the worst unit in the game. I think if you get Vayne with that Rage Blade, with the Radiant Rage Blade, she might actually be pretty decent, but the problem is you don't know if you're going to hit it, so I don't know. You might think about holding Vayne early game and trying to play a 2-star Vayne carry board. And then if you don't hit the Radiant, then you just pivot to like Aphelios or Draven or Lucian or something like that. So maybe it's worth trying a Vayne build just because the Radiant change and the extra AD. I'll be trying to play Vayne as an item holder this patch. She's definitely much better as an item holder if you weren't picking her up at all. So maybe start thinking about picking her up as an item holder, but I think it's difficult to run her as a carry. I think in the niche situations when she gets the Gwynsu's, she might actually be a decent carry, but you know, who knows if you're going to get that item? You get it too late in the game to decide because she's a. Anyways, they're nerfing Thresh. God bless. We'll look at that in a second. They're nerfing Sejuani. They're buffing Set because they're now balancing Set as a tank instead of a DPS. They couldn't decide if they wanted him to be a DPS or a tank. They're just making him a tank and making his shred just utility. I'm fine with that change. No one likes when Set's a carry. It's really fun to play the board, but it's really unfun to play against. So I'm fine with this change because AD Set has been dead and they haven't made him a tank. He feels kind of squishy. They're nerfing Sejuani because her tags are just insane. Really big nerf to the Fortune build. Cool. Thresh. So Thresh is getting nerfed. This is a nerf to the Misfortune board. This is a nerf to if a potential Vayne board pops up. This is a nerf to the Hellion board because most 3-star Thresh in that build now. The whole idea is that you don't want Thresh at 6. These numbers, what their aim is they don't want Thresh at 2-star to 1-shot at 6 Forgotten. They don't want at 3-star to 1-shot at 2 Forgotten. Or 4 Forgotten is what they're hoping is going to happen with these numbers. And hopefully they accomplish that. It's a pretty hefty nerf here. A decent sized nerf. And at 1-star, but well, you know, nobody cares about Thresh's damage at 1-star. Thresh is just utility. Thresh is still going to be great. If your Thresh fits into your comp naturally, he's going to be great. His utility is amazing. Okay, Varus is getting buffed. Nice buff to Redeemed. I might try to give Redeemed a try. Maybe I'll try Varus reroll patch. Cool. Lee Sin is getting nerfed at 3-star. I think this does absolutely nothing to Lee Sin's power as a unit. That does absolutely nothing. but this mana nerf might actually be meaningful. There's a lot of fights where he like last second ults. So this is actually meaningful right here. I don't think this means. Wow, he actually his first cast will actually be lowered as well. This is actually pretty meaningful. He might not cast twice in your fight. So this is a big nerf to the Yasuo build and a nerf to the potential skirmisher build that might arise. But so I do like the compensation nerf because I am scared of a skirmisher board being that it's so lame on skirmisher. Okay, Lulu, really massive buff to Lulu. This is the buff to the Hellion board, obviously, and then this is the buff to Invokers when you're playing Teemo as your carry late game. And so the whole aim of this is when you get a Lulu early game, they want you to think about whether you're going to sell her or not. Because basically, if you get a Lulu out of a box or out of an orb at the beginning of the game, you instantly sell because it is not worth your money. I still don't think it's going to be worth your money, but this is pretty cool. Cool. Riven. So Riven is getting nerfed because she's pretty good, but she's still going to be amazing at 2-star. She's getting a slight nerf at 3-star, but I think Riven is going to be better on this patch. She's going to be better on this patch. Even though they're nerfing her in a couple ways, because now you won't ever think about building healing because you will get it from your Legionnaire passive. If you play my Dawnbringer tech, she's gonna be good in this because they buffed my Dawnbringer tech in a lot of different ways. So this is actually a buff to the Dawnbringer tech. Even though this is a direct nerf to Riven, overall in this patch, I think Riven is getting buffed for that build specifically. And 6 Dawnbringer build is getting buffed a lot on this patch. By Karma getting buffed and the Legionnaire buff at 2 Legion. So I might want to try, and you guys might want to try running the old school 6 Dawnbringer build where you run Karma as your carry and Riven Nidalee as your side carries. Might be pretty good. And maybe this nerf will dissuade people from playing Riven. And that will be cool because then I can get Riven free. Anyways, cool. Yasuo getting a nerf at 3-star. Probably a good nerf because if you get a 3-star Yasuo, it usually guarantees you top 4. I did bot 4 a game with Yasuo 3-star, but it was kind of unlucky. So yeah, but he's still going to be amazing as an item holder, amazing as an early and mid game carry. So if you still pick him up early, he's still going to be great. And I think Yasuo build will still be good. I don't think this is enough to push him out of the meta. I mean, the Lee Sin nerfs are pretty big too. Maybe this is enough to push out Yasuo as being one of the more premier carries right now. I think Riven is going to be a little better than Yasuo. I think Yasuo is going to feel these nerfs a little bit more than Riven will, just because Lee Sin is. Whereas Riven, her unit that pairs with her is Nidalee, and she's getting buffed, not directly but indirectly from some item changes. Cool. Daisy getting nerfed at 1-star and 2-star. I'm definitely down with the 1-star because you just toss an Ivern in. If you hit a random Ivern on stage 3 or stage 4, you just splash that in, infinite frontline. At 2-star. Whatever. I don't know if this needs to be nerfed, but Ivern's still going to be great. Pretty much unchanged. Rel is getting a 50 health nerf. Oh, they did actually make this more before, so I'm down with this. They're just nerfing Rel to try to put her closer to Gallio. Their reasoning was really dumb when I was watching it. They said Rel always casts at 1-star, and I'm like, maybe if you have 3 tank items on her. My Rel never casts at 1, unless it's stage 3 or early stage 4. So I don't know what they're talking about with that, but I'm fine with Rel getting nerfed. She's definitely the best like plug and play frontliner, so I'm fine with her getting. It's trying to put her a little bit closer to Gallio. Gallio is supposed to be slightly weaker than Rel, but right now Rel is just like. Okay, Akshan is getting buffed at 1 and 2-star. I like the 1-star buff a lot. 2-star is whatever, it's fine. He already feels pretty good, but it's just a small nerf or small buff. Maybe now you'll think about, if you're running a Ranger build, you'll think about just putting your items on a 1-star Akshan instead of a 2-star Aphelios. I think they're trying to make it a little bit closer to how when you played set 5, you'd play an Olaf and you'd actually sell your Olaf 2 and put the items on a Samir 1. It's not going to be anywhere close to that level, but maybe it might give you some pause thinking about, like, even if you have a 2-star Aphelios, instead of slamming your items on him, Akshan. So it's worth giving a try, because right now you'd rather just have the items on usually, unless there's certain item setups the other way around. Okay, Garen is getting buffed, so they're just wanting you to play this. I'm really going to try the 6 Dawnbringer tech. This one, the Dawnbringer Classico, definitely will be better on this. So they're buffing him right here. They're lowering his mana. Massive buff for Garen. Garen already feels really good. I don't think Garen needs to be buffed. I think Karma just needed to be buffed. So this is probably overkill because Garen's amazing. I love Garen. Cool. So I might try that. Okay, Gwen is getting buffed. Her Shred. This is a great buff because you don't even notice her Shred. Honestly, I put Ionic Spark on her a lot because I can't feel her Shred, and I just wanted to shred more. So this is a great buff. Gwen is a great unit already, but this is a nice buff. That ups our utility a little bit. Heimerdinger, 50 nerf. This doesn't do anything. If you were selling your Vel'Koz for a Heimerdinger, keep doing it. This probably doesn't do anything. It's 50. Volibear is getting nerfed. 0.5. That's pretty hefty at 1 star. So this also nerfed a Heimerdinger, but guys, still play Heimerdinger. He's great. Still play Heimerdinger. Unless like Karma is just like Karma and Dawnbringers are just amazing, then Heimerdinger is probably still the best AP carry. Cool. Items regular. About. Oh, Deathcap's getting buffed. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna try a lot of AP builds. I'm gonna really try the old school Dawnbringer build. I think the old school Dawnbringer build just got buffed in like 30 different ways, and my Dawnbringer tech got board. So I will be forcing a lot of Dawns to a patch if you. Oh, good. Wow, they are really buffing AP. I like that they buffed AP and didn't nerf AD into the. Because this is what they usually do is they just heavy-handed balance. They just completely destroy the meta. So they're buffing AP. What they're trying to do is they're trying to make everything strong, so that everything is so that it's balanced. What they usually do is something is really good, and this is what they do. They buff this a little bit, and then they kill this. That's usually what they do. So I'm liking the philosophy. I don't know how it's gonna play out, but it definitely looks like give AP a try, give Dawnbringers a try, give Karma a try. The other builds that were already working are still good. Some bug fixes. So Nunu wasn't properly casting with Radiant RFC, so that kind of sucks. But now he will. Oh, they could target the same target. Okay, so your Zephyrs can't target the same target anymore. Lucian channels no longer interrupted by taunts. Oh yeah, he shouldn't be interrupted by a taunt. Okay. Cool. Winded yet. Radiant Zephyr attack speed buff will now properly be removed at the end of combat. Oh, it was stacking? What the hell? Okay. Weird. Okay, Senna's Last Embrace now has the stun duration in the tooltip. Yeah, okay. I remember that not being in the tooltip. Okay, so just a little bit of an overview of this patch. Overall, what I think about it is a lot of my favorite builds got buffed. Craggle got added to the game. Oh my god. Look at this. Dude, take my money. I will. Oh my god, just take my money. Basically, whatever you were playing last patch is probably still fine. Maybe Yasuo build is not going to be something you go for more often. You probably play it when you're high roll, maybe. Because that Lisa nerf is pretty big. And then that Yasuo nerf is smaller, but the Lisa nerf is pretty big, which nerfs Yasuo a lot. So the only things that might drop out of the meta that I think are going to be Yasuo. Maybe Hellions will completely drop out of the meta. I think Misfortune build will drop out. I think it'll still be fine. I think, by the way, I think those boards will be good if you high roll them. But as like a board, you just kind of like force or trick. I think those might fall out of the meta. And and all the other AD builds are probably still going to be good. Maybe on this patch, think about playing Draven. Think about playing Skirmishers. A bunch of big buffs to Skirmishers. Think about playing Karma. Think about playing 6 Dawn. 6 Dawn might be pretty good now. The old school Dawn build. So think about playing those, and that's about it, guys. Anyways, if you made it all the way to this video, I appreciate you guys. It's a whole 30-minute video. If you did, please let me know. I read all the comments, and it makes me feel good if somebody listened to me talk for 30 minutes, which is pretty insane. Anyways, guys, so I appreciate all of you. Hope you guys are all doing well. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye, guys. See ya.